Welcome to Free Spirit, and welcome to another spirit message and tip in answer to the comments that I've been getting a lot. And I remember Missy Lucy, you even asking me this, and there were so many that I could say, and I just got asked this again, and I do want to do a video about this. It's so funny. I mean, when you talk about the top spiritual speakers, writers, psychics, the most positive influencers that I had over the years growing up, for me, it became quite clear. I can narrow it down to a top 5 very easily. But I just want to preface this. There are countless, speakers, psychics, writers that influenced me along the way. I mean, there really were countless. I really digested and inhaled and devoured every book I could ever read in my teenage years. I went to every seminar. I went to every group. I heard people speak. So many comes to mind, but there are 5 that almost are, each one is in a different category that did something for me that really left its mark. So I just wanted to share those 5, and definitely feel free to leave your own in the comments for others to, check out as well. But if I had to say over the countless over the many years, there are 5 that really come to mind, that really opened the doors, that really gave me aha moments, that really, for each different reason that they present, they really, for me personally, they really left their mark. So I'll tell you the top 5 for me personally, and feel free again to leave your own. And before I do, I just want to say this: always follow your own guidance when you're buying books, products, listening to videos, talks, seminars. All that goes without saying, but I am saying it here because every book I read, every talk I listened to, every video I watched, I drank it all in, like all through my teenage years, all the way up. And each one was like meeting you where you are and leaving breadcrumbs or some mark with you. And it really empowers you in some way to keep going and moving and embodying more of all you really are. That's really what I felt like they each gave me, to embody more of all you really are. And they almost give you permission. And I know that sounds really weird to say, but a lot that you're guided to is really to remind you of parts of you, or to recognize parts of you. It's amazing how it really feels like they're giving you permission. Okay, so here we go. My top 5. So the top 5 that immediately came to mind for different reasons, and I'll tell you why too. Number 1, Wayne Dyer. Most of you know. I mean, he's written countless books. He has seminars. He passed away, but you can catch his specials all the time on PBS if you're in the States. Countless videos online, countless books. What he did was he really opened up your mind. He showed you how you look at things, showing about the connectiveness of all. He really was so wonderful with his stories, with his anecdotes. It really landed. He was a delightful speaker. I don't know what else to say about that, but he was really great for opening up your mind and really being aware of your connectiveness to everything and to source and, the basics, like the real foundation. So I found him really great. And I often, over the years, sometimes go back and rewatch a special of his or something, or just it feels like coming home. It was something like that. So that's number 1 for the spiritual. Open up your mind, the connectiveness of all, and to source and everything else, and how to look at things. And number 2, I would definitely say Iyanla Vanzant. And I'll tell you why. She was really good when you're uncovering your own patterns, when you want to clear out and come back to yourself and be more aware of your own patterns. She was so instrumental in that category. I remember a long time ago, she even had a television show called Starting Over. I even remember the episode where she was working with someone who was such a people pleaser, and that, unaware to myself, but I was painfully aware, that was something that I had to work through as well, and I sometimes still have to watch that. And it was amazing, that show, because you could see aspects of yourself in different people in the scenarios and how she worked with them, and a lot of aha moments. So when it came to recognizing your patterns and how you could shift things, that was like a magnifying glass on, like, hello, I do that. It was like, I remember, oh my gosh, this one episode, she had someone clean out a refrigerator, and when she was all done, I guess the woman was standing to the side wanting Iyanla to clap and like give her accolades for cleaning the refrigerator, and instead Iyanla started pouring a mess and just defacing the refrigerator all over again. And the woman looked like she was gonna cry because she spent like an hour cleaning up the mess. And then Iyanla looked at her and was like, well, it's dirty again, so you know what you have to do. And so the woman instinctively went to go clean it up again, and she started yelling at her like, why are you still insisting on cleaning up everybody else's mess? It was just so eye-opening. I'll never forget it. And we're going back decades now, okay? So things like that, it really shows aspects of yourself. She wrote countless books as well and done other television shows since then, but she was so good, and I saw her in person too, and very relatable, and I loved how she was so down to earth and direct and real. Okay, so spoke my language. Now, leaning towards that, direct and, real. When it comes to the psychic part, the one that really stood out to me was Sylvia Brown, and I remember back in the day, she was on, oh my gosh, I'm blanking out on his name. Why am I blanking on his name? Oh my God, why? Montel. And every week she was on Montel. Now we're going back when I was a kid. I used to fantasize she was my grandmother. Why did I love her? She was a psychic. She got a lot of, people were not very supportive. She had a lot of, I don't know, when people, I don't know, I mean, especially back then, like people, didn't want to accept stuff. But she was nobody but herself. When you talk about somebody who was nobody but yourself, and I loved her humor. She was very dry. It almost gave me permission to like be nobody but yourself spiritually, like you didn't have to be the caricature of what you might have seen before. She just seemed very real to me, very direct. She was very open, very accepting, very down to earth. She said it like she meant it, like she got it, like she heard it, like she said, I really appreciated that. And then I just remember fantasizing she was my grandmother. She came from like a family of psychics, so she was very, from the get-go, accepted. She had that, and I just remember watching that, wishing I had that, and I just loved her manner. I just love people who are real. Like bring it down to earth people. And so I loved her. I just loved her personality, and I just loved also her spunk and her backbone, because you got a lot of flack. That's the adjective I was looking for. She was strong. And nobody but herself. So yeah, I used to pretend she was my grandma. Okay, number 4, going into another category, I would say Louise Hay. Louise Hay, people know her as the founder of Hay House, but I remember back in the 80s, now we're really going back, I was a kid, but AIDS had just come out. She was doing a lot of work with AIDS. She started very grassroots, and she was up in age. Then she started doing talks. She came out with, she was very known for affirmational, to really come back to love yourself. And I remember this website where she gave a list of symptoms and heal yourself. I shared that website on the channel, how you can heal yourself. So I just loved her tone, her loving energy, affirmation, love yourself, and everything was so positive, and I really resonated that. And I remember that as like a teenager. So that was very influential, that loving energy, and to love yourself. And so yeah, now you found late years, she founded Hay House and everything else. She's no longer with us, but that loving, affirmational, love yourself. And I had that website, and I shared it with everybody I knew. And she wrote countless books, which I think it was actually titled Love Yourself or Heal Yourself. Yes, but I found her very influential just in her tone, her work, that everything was so positive, loving, affirmational. So that, and all about loving yourself and affirming yourself, was really big, and heal yourself, okay? So another category, and I would say, well, now Doreen Virtue doesn't do decks anymore, but when it came to oracle decks and writers of that nature, Doreen Virtue, of course, started us off. She denounced the decks now, but of course she was very influential to me, because I was very sensitive to images, and it was her decks that really got me hooked. I learned on other types of decks, but then when I came to Tarot and Oracle, I really got in the mix when she started coming out with sensitive, angelic, like images. Okay, everybody got swept up in that years and years ago. She denounced decks. So flash forward, I won't name her, but she was very influential, and she wrote countless books and countless decks and offered classes, and everybody was on that wave. And it was very loving tone to doing readings. So of course that opened up a whole other door for myself. But now to this day, I would also lump Tony Carmine Salerno, and you know him for Blue Angel and all his deck creating. I have, I have every deck he ever made. I have that deck collection video of all his decks. There was something about his decks that was in such a loving tone. I was just bathed. It was such a loving tone that I recognized, and because of that loving tone, it was drenched in love. he's an artist, so all his paintings, everything is love. His decks are so loving. It just hits you. It's just so loving. So that gave me a permission to look at creating my own decks, like what I was receiving, to pour that out onto decks, that could be a medium, that there was a place for it there. Because before I just wrote things down, but I didn't know I could place it in decks. And so, yeah, when I had all those 20 Carmines and Lerna, when I don't know, recognized the tone of love, I was like, oh, aha moment. I could put that in decks. I could create the free spirit card. So I really do credit, Adoring Virtue opened up the door to use tarot and oracle cards later, but then it was Tony Carmine's know that it was like his decks, that tone gave me permission to actually put my messages on cards and create the free spirit cards. It gave me permission. So each one, those 5, somehow they each gave you permission to be more of who you are. And that's why they stand out. Now, there are countless others. I have bookshelves still, and will never get rid of my real books. Florence, oh gosh, I have a whole bunch. Oh my gosh, I have so many books that I'm flashing on that I feel like they're calling at me because I didn't mention them. But there have been amazing writers all along the way. I do feel like they're breadcrumbs. I do feel when you're guided to them, really drink it in, because I almost feel like it is meant for you to help you, support you in some way, to recognize another piece of yourself. Definitely go by what you're guided to. So I was asked the question, what are my top 5? These are my top 5 that immediately came to my mind, that definitely left an impression. I definitely remember to this day. If I would definitely say a thank you to them. They definitely made me more aware of something, really gave me permission of things, and I was inspired by them. And especially when I talk about Sylvia Brown, there was something about her, just thinking about her, she made me laugh. They're each ballsy in their own way also. It's not just the work that they did, but also what you have to be made of to be able to put that out. They embody a ballsiness, a gutsiness, and they were nobody but themselves, and they came out with their work, and they didn't change their delivery of who they are, what they were doing. It's that also. When you're a kid and you're looking, she's so gutsy about it. She's so strong about it. She's not, in the face of criticism or flack, it doesn't matter. They stay the course. And I really admired that the whole way too, because people could smirk at what you say or give you flack or whatever, and just hold your own and keep going. I always recognize that younger also, what people embody as they're doing things. So anyway, this has been asked a lot. What were my top 5 spiritual speakers, writers, psychics, the most positive influencers for me by their work, and why? And that is just a little reason why. I use this card, the Ace of Gabriel, because this is like the Ace of Wands, and it's like passing along that inspiration, that gift of inspiration, passion, that keeps you lit and fires you up. And just like I said, it's like a little breadcrumb that they leave for your spirit. So I thought this was a fitting card. But yeah, and whenever you find, and also I want to add it, these were the ones that made the deepest impressions and either helped me to see clear, know, embrace more of what I am along the way. And if you have yours that come to mind, definitely feel free to leave it in the comments for others to check out. Okay, take care. Bye-bye.